The 2026 racing season and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship got underway with the Super Bowl of sports car racing, the Rolex 24 at Daytona. The number 93 Acura of Renger van der Zande led the 60-car field to green, but the drama started immediately in the LMP2 category as the 04 CrowdStrike entry was sent sideways and the TDS and Aero Motorsport cars were involved as well. The number 25 BMW and GTP spun coming out of Turn 2 in a separate incident, but more problems occurred behind in LMP2. As the number 2 United Autosports car attempted to rejoin the track, it ran into the number 11 of Toby Lutke and both sustained serious damage, ripping front bodywork off the number 11 and damaging the suspension on the number 2. The caution was thrown by the end of the lap due to the amount of debris. The second green flag stint would be even shorter than the first. Eric Zitza in the number 28 RS1 Porsche had a bizarre accident spinning on the entry to Turn 1 and striking the end of the wall that divides the track and pit exit. Zitza was shaken up but okay, and the number 28 was the race's first official retirement. Felipe Nasr's Porsche would lead the field back to green, and he began to build a lead. Penske teammate Kevin Estre passed van der Zande for second not long after. Early on in GTD Pro, the two factory Corvettes were in complete control, number 4 ahead of number 3, but the Fords and the RLL McLaren proved themselves to be contenders early. With just under 22 hours left on the clock, we finally got another caution for Daniel Serra in the number 62 Risi Ferrari careening through the grass, striking the number 033 Triarsi Ferrari and suffering serious damage, putting the number 62 out of the event. The fighting at the restart in GTP was fierce as Julian Anlauer in the Porsche pulled away at the front. The 93, now with 2025 IndyCar champ Alex Palou at the wheel, also recovered second place. The CrowdStrike car would spin again into Turn 5, but would continue unharmed. Unfortunately, a trip to the garage would basically end RLL's shot at GTD Pro victory in their first race with McLaren. An electrical issue put the number 59 car over 20 laps behind the class leaders. With just over 21 hours left, Dylan Murray lost control of the number 83 AF Course LMP2 car in the infield kink. In the cloud of smoke, Adam Adelson could not see the white car and slammed into the back of the prototype in the number 120 Wright Motorsports GTD car. Both teams were out of the race on the spot, but both drivers were able to escape the accident unhurt, and several other cars were lucky to make it through without hitting anything. Earl Bamber in the Whelen Cadillac led the field at the restart with 20 hours and 42 minutes on the clock. The two Corvettes were side by side for the GTD Pro lead, and the Paul Miller BMW was waiting to pounce. Unfortunately, trouble would strike the fan-favorite Aston Martin Valkyrie with 19.5 hours left. Multiple on-track stoppages to reset the car's electrical system were done before the car went behind the wall for more significant work. This did not cause a yellow, however. We'd have to wait another 20 minutes for one, as the 81 Dragon Speed Corvette was the next car to fall victim to issues when Matteo Cairoli spun and hit the tire wall in the International Horseshoe. This incident did bring out a yellow, which at its end saw the number 85 JDC Miller Motorsports Porsche lead the way in GTP. As the next hour progressed, it became clear that the harsh blast of winter weather affecting most of the U.S. would cause some issues even as far south as Daytona, and midnight fog began to set in, hampering visibility for drivers and spotters alike. After a brief caution for an LMP2 car losing a wheel, the race went back to green shortly before the second-place overall car struck issues. The 93 Acura, still with Palou at the wheel, lost a tire exiting the pit lane, bringing out a second caution for a loose wheel in the last 30 minutes. Eventually, the fog got so bad that race officials had no choice but to throw a yellow. That yellow would remain on the track for the next 6.5 hours, becoming the longest caution period in the race's 64-year history. After that 6.5-hour yellow, it was still the Penske number 7 ahead of the two WRT BMWs at the front of the field in GTP. The field was quite jittery those first few laps back at speed, with Kenny Habul trying to pass the Manthey Porsche on the apron of the track by the start-finish line. Sparks flew, and Habul was able to squeeze by into Turn 1. The LMP2 battle was also getting heated, with Sebastian Bourdais and Nick Cassidy scrapping for the top spot of the Pro-Am prototype category. The number 3 Corvette, a major contender for the win in GTD Pro, suffered a suspension failure with 5 hours left on the clock. The car would return to the track, but many laps down and completely out of contention for the win. A spin for Logan Sargent would bring out another yellow with 4 hours and 40 minutes remaining, but by this point, the number 6 Porsche was out ahead of the sister number 7 car. Marco Wittmann in the 25 BMW was holding on to third, ahead of both Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillacs. It would be Whitman that led the field back to the green ahead of the 2 Cadillacs and then the 2 Porsches behind. The Penske split Jordan Taylor in the number 40 into turn 1, while Max Hesse barely held on to the GTD Pro lead ahead of DTM champ Ian Guven. With exactly 4 hours left, Hesse and Guven were battling with the sole remaining Corvette of Tommy Milner for the GTD Pro lead. Unfortunately, another major GTD Pro contender bit the dust with 2.5 hours left. The number 64 Mustang suffered an oil leak which led to a yellow to dry the track. Julian Andlauer was still in control at the restart ahead of Sheldon van der Linde's BMW, but another GTP contender was emerging in the form of the number 31 Whelen Cadillac. Earl Bamber was at the wheel at this point, and he had taken the 31 back up to 4th overall after several penalties in the early going of the race. The GTD battle was getting hectic, and you could nearly throw a blanket over the top 5 in class, and in every category it was still anyone's game. The number 033 Triarci Ferrari was given a stop-and-go penalty for running the number 4 Corvette off the track in the infield, essentially taking them out of the race for the win in GTD Pro. Major problems struck the number 10 Cadillac with 2 hours to go when smoke was seen billowing from the engine compartment. Ricky Taylor was able to get the car back to the pits without causing a yellow, but the fire had spread to the point where the engine cover had begun to melt. Taylor emerged unharmed, but 22 hours into the race, the first GTP car had encountered terminal issues. With around an hour left, Jack Aitken, driving the 31 Cadillac, had a massive moment closing up on the GTD Pro leaders, forcing him to let off the throttle and give up time to the 2 Porsches. Into the final hour, traffic began to play a major role in the battle for the overall lead. Felipe Nasr's encounter with the lead group at GTD allowed Aitken to close back up to the number 7. The issue for the 31 was that the 7 could get the power down out of the corner, and by the time the low drag of the Cadillac could kick in on the straightaways, the Porsche had opened up a large gap. With half an hour left, Nasr led in GTP. The CrowdStrike Racing 04, which had spun multiple times and been lapsed down at some point in the race, was leading LMP2. The surviving Mustang was out front in GTD Pro, and Aaron Tielitz in the number 12 Lexus was leading GTD. The battle between Nasr and Aitken heated up again with 24 minutes left on the clock, but again the number 31 just could not keep up on corner exit and only stood a chance in the draft. Aitken tried to make his move with 21 minutes to go, diving below the yellow line into turn 1, but Nasr cut him off, and the number 31 didn't really get another chance to take the lead. In GTD, the battle was coming down to the number 44 Aston Martin and the number 57 Windward Mercedes. Philip Ellis was defending hard against Nicky Thiem coming into the tri-oval. Thiem went to the outside, and Ellis nearly spun at the start-finish line, but he kept it together and recaptured the lead going into turn 1. Back in the front at GTP, Nasr had a huge moment where he had to dive between the number 44 Aston Martin and the 99 AO Racing P2 car to keep his lead from evaporating. But come the end of the race, no one could challenge Felipe Nasr, who along with Julian Andlauer and Lauren Heinrich took overall in GTP victory at the 64th Rolex 24 at Daytona. This was Nasr's 3rd consecutive Rolex win, all of which he took the checkered flag for. In GTD Pro, the number 1 Paul Miller BMW held off a late charge from the Sun Energy 1 Mercedes to seal the win for Dan Harper, Max Hesse, Neil Verhagen, and Connor DeFilippi. In GTD, after an incredible save, the Windward Racing Mercedes took their 3rd class win in 5 years at Daytona for Philip Ellis, Indy Donchi, Russell Ward, and Lucas Auer. The CrowdStrike by APR 04 team finally took their long-awaited class win after so much struggle in previous years. CrowdStrike founder George Kurtz would be king of the amateurs alongside Alex Quinn, Malte Jakobsen, and Toby Sowery. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship returns to action for the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring on March 21st at 10 a.m. Make sure you don't miss highlights by subscribing and hitting the bell here so you never miss an upload from TWIR. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.